This is Natalie Pace. I'm the co-creator of the Earth Gratitude Project at earthgratitude.org. And today I'm interviewing Josh and Rebecca Tickell. They are the producers and directors of three very important films on regenerative agriculture. They're very exciting. They feature a lot of your favorite film stars. And they're having a global event this Earth Day, April 22nd, that you definitely do not want to miss. So I'm so excited to have you both here, and I really would love for you to tell everyone about what's happening April 22nd, Earth Day, and as importantly, how they can join you.
Great. Well, thanks for having us, Natalie. Thanks to your viewers and listeners. First of all, this is an exciting moment. This Earth Day, April 22nd, on Prime, Amazon Prime Global Video, both of our films, Kiss the Ground and Common Ground, will launch. They're going to be available in multiple languages. And what's cool is we're doing a live Q&A event that day at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which will be anyone can watch it. It's going to be on YouTube. So easy to get to the live Q&A. That's going to have some of the big celebrities from the films, as well as these two directors that you're talking to.
Yes.
And we'll be answering some of the questions that folks will have even before they watch the film, as well as questions that they may have even if they watched both of the films.
Well, I think we should just let people know where they can make sure to sign up so they don't miss this. What is the website that they should be going to sign up?
Great. So everybody go to commongroundfilm.org. Commongroundfilm.org. Don't forget the org. There's a sign up right there to sign up for the global watch party. And by the way, you can have watch parties with your friends. You can invite your whole church. You can have a screening at your school. You put it on a screen and get everyone to watch it. That's what we want. We want parties in living rooms, parties in auditoriums, parties in stadiums, parties in backyards. If you are in a Zen monastery, you can have it in your monastery. So literally, we want people screening this film all over the world. Let's have a global watch party this Earth Day.
Now, I know that you guys are, blessed to attract some of the biggest stars in the world. So will you just give us a little tease of who you're expecting to join you on April 22nd?
Well, there may be a drop in from somebody like Woody Harrelson.
Yes.
We know that Ian Somerholder is going to join us because Ian's just such a part of all of these projects. And, he's got a pretty big fan base. Those of you who've seen him in shows such as Vampire Diaries. But we may have some other great names from the films. In Common Ground, we've got Jason Momoa. Demi Moore is an executive producer of that film. So Rosario Dawson, let's not forget her. She is starring in the current Star Wars series,
Yep.
Ahsoka. Wow, what a great series. And she is amazing, both in Common Ground and in that series. So we'll probably see some drop-ins from some of these wonderful folks. We're also going to see some of the characters and subjects in the film, some of the farmers, ranchers, and some of the folks that manage small-scale agriculture as well. So a broad and diverse array of voices from VIP talent to the folks that are really doing regeneration on the ground.
Well, and I think that's what is lovely as well, is that you have really turned some of these farmers into stars. And let's talk a little bit about why.
And we've turned some of the stars into farmers, ironically, as well.
Okay, which ones?
Well, Ian's been known to farm a thing or two,
Yeah.
and we've certainly been trying our hand at running a bit of a hobby farm here at Big Picture Ranch. So, I think everyone knows that growing food is a powerful act. It's an act of, in some ways, it's an act of resistance against this chemical, industrial, pharmaceutical model of not food, but food stuffs that we've been made to eat, right? That's what's making us fat, sick, and almost dead. So grow some food, like the folks in the film, get empowered. It's pretty exciting.
It's very exciting. And also, if you're growing your own food, Ron Finley says growing your own food is like printing your own money. It's
Mhm.
so much more affordable. Like anybody that's saying, oh, it's so expensive, well, grow it yourself. And if not, if you have an apartment, there's community gardens. But let's talk a little bit about the health aspect of this. Are you a little bit excited that there is now a mantra, Make America Healthy Again, that we're now hearing this talked about in a larger way? Does this give you optimism that you're actually gaining ground? I mean, it's pretty exciting that Amazon Prime is going to be screening this globally, and that's for free too, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've made films about dirt, and that, you've heard the expression dull as dirt. It's so hard to get people to watch
Right.
films to begin with about anything, if it doesn't have like explosions and lots of sex. But we're trying to get people to watch an entertaining film about dirt. But it is entertaining and it's riveting. And the reason that Amazon picked it up and the reason that people around the world are going to get to see these two films is because it contains such powerful information about how we can all get healthy again, and how we can not only just heal our bodies through healing our soil, because we are a reflection of the soil that our food is grown in. It helps farmers, it helps our economies, it helps communities, it helps. I mean, the list of wins when you apply the practices of regeneration that we talk about and kiss the ground and common ground. Um, it really is, not to make a pun, but it's the groundswell. So that's the third film that we're currently making that will follow up to these two films. But there is a huge movement, and it is so wonderful to see politicians getting on board with that. And that's why we called the film Common Ground, is because this is not a political issue at all. This is something that involves all of us. And so I think we have a lot more in common than we realize. There's more that unites us than that divides us. And so I think we have to find those those areas where we overlap, where we all have the same commitments, like feeding our kids clean food and breathing clean air and clean water, and protecting our communities, our environment. Those are all things that we all share. It doesn't matter what your political view is. It doesn't matter, what the campaign is. Like even if you work for Monsanto, you want your kids to be healthy and you want your community to be healthy. So there's an opportunity for everybody to get on board. And it is so wonderful to watch this movement blooming. When we came out with Kiss the Ground in 2020, there was only 2.5 million acres in regeneration in the United States, 2.5 million acres transitioning into regeneration in the US. Now we're in over 50 million acres into transition to regeneration. So everybody's getting on board with this because
Yeah.
everybody has a role to play in it, and everybody wins when they participate in it. And if you're not participating, you're benefiting from the work that other people are doing to bring forth this regenerative movement. So it's thrilling
Well,
to
what
see regeneration being talked about in the mainstream.
and
And
we
just
didn't
one
talk.
thing I'll add to that is I think soil is sexy. You know, hey, other films have other stuff, but we've got soil. And, you want to talk about getting dirty. This is the best kind of getting dirty when you get it under your fingers. And, studies show actually that interacting with soil in a garden
Yeah.
is actually healthy for your body because you're actually microbes are moving through the pores of your skin. You're de-electrifying your body. So we carry a lot of positive charge from all of
Right.
this electronic equipment we're constantly around, our cell phones, things like that. So this is a way to de-stress, connect with nature, and connect with some of those very important microbes, which, by the way, run our guts and our guts run our brains. So yeah, there's a lot to be said for interacting with soil.
Well, I think soil is sexy when Jason Momoa is talking about it.
Oh,
But
yeah, of course.
the whole message is really awesome. But all I'm going to say is that it's also really inspiring and enlightening and informative. I think that farmers are overrun with the cost of inputs. And one of the things that I really loved is, you have somebody that is pretty conservative talking about the millions of dollars that he saves by switching to regenerative. And then also, again, I do want to talk a little bit about Farmer Gabe Brown. So let's talk a little bit about your farmers and just from that aspect. And also, as importantly, how can we support them better? We will talk a little bit more about any congressional movements, but even as consumers, how can we support regenerative farmers? And how can we make sure that we are part of the solution?
Well, the best way to support regenerative farmers is to buy the food that they grow. And there's two pathways for doing that. Obviously, if you can get to know your farmers, you can go to a farmer's market, a local market where you can buy that farm produce. Great. That is the most direct way. Obviously, volunteering on a farm, going to a farm, being part of a farm tour, being part of a local food cooperative where you're pooling your money with other people, you're getting a farmer box every week of food. Super powerful, right? And most people go, well, that's expensive, whatever. It's actually not. It's actually way cheaper because the markups on that food are way less than what you see at the grocery store. the nutritional value that you're going to get from the food is way higher. So let's say you pay the same for a carrot from a local farmer who you know who's doing best soil practices as opposed to the grocery store. You're getting two, three, four, five times the nutrition in the carrot. So
Right.
essentially, you're getting a five times more valuable carrot, right?
Right.
That's the first thing to understand. Second thing is most farmers markets now accept EBT payments. So there is the level of people in this country that are still on what we used to call food stamps.
Right.
That's you can buy Coca-Cola at the grocery store, you can buy Cheetos, and you can buy food at a farmer's market. That is a powerful choice. Now, if you live in a dense urban jungle, maybe that's not possible, right? So we know that not everybody has the same access. Food deserts exist. Food is a justice issue.
Yeah.
And that's why we're starting to see the logos of regenerative agriculture on the food. If you go to 100millionacres.org, that's the number 100millionacres.org. It's connected to the film website. So you can get there from commongroundfilm.org. Right on that front page, 100 Million Acres, you'll see the main logos of regenerative farmers right there on that front page. So that's information that you can use as a purchaser of food, as a consumer, as an eater,
Right.
both to empower you and your family so that you know you're getting the best nutrition possible, but also in a bilateral way to support that farmer or that rancher to keep doing that good work. And that relationship is one we want to see grow because let's face it, farmers get 4 cents on the dollar. So the majority of the money is going elsewhere and the majority of the nutrition is going elsewhere. We need to change that model. And this is how we do it.
Well, I think another exciting thing about this movement, I mean, Make America Healthy Again is a very exciting concept, empowering farmers to do the right thing and also to save money and have a better profit margin. That's great. But let's talk a little bit about soil as a solution for CO2 drawdown. That's a big theme in there as well. And how did you learn about this? I mean, I must say, when I first heard about Kiss the Ground, I was like, no, it can't be that easy. So tell us a little bit more about CO2 drawdown of soil potential.
Well, let's take it from a basic concept, right? Before we get into the deep science of this.
Right,
CO2, carbon dioxide, it's an insulating gas, right? There's really only three places you can put CO2, right? We can put it in the atmosphere. We can put it in the oceans where it turns into carbonic acid and acidifies the oceans. Or we can store it in some kind of terrestrial, earthbound resource. So that's trees, plants, shrubs, grasses, or soil. Most of the CO2 that's in the atmosphere, just on a big sort of level, came from the ground. It came from the ground. It came from fossil fuels that were buried in the ground. So, of all the CO2 sinks that we have available, the biggest, largest, most available, most open sink is soil. For some reason, 30 some odd years of the climate movement, we have avoided talking about the most obvious solution. We've done everything other than talk about the one place where
yeah,
we can put the most CO2, the one place that can absorb the most CO2, the one place that is actually made of carbon, right? Coral reefs, sure, there's carbon that has that latticework, that structure, but soil is carbon.
right.
That's how we build soil. So if we want to build soil to create more dense, healthy, nutritious food, to reverse deserts, to create water sinks, to create great ecosystems, we need carbon. So in a lot of ways, we've misunderstood carbon. We've gone after carbon as an enemy instead of saying, if we really want to feed 10 billion people, the very thing that we need, the thing we need the most of is carbon. Well, if we needed a bunch of carbon, where would we go to find it? I know, the atmosphere. Let's take it from where it is and put it to where it's not. And that simple change of mentality is still not being seen by the climate community. Still, 10 years we've been working on this issue. It's
Yeah,
still being avoided by the IPCC. It's still not front and center at COP. And it is the most no-brainer, simple key to solving the climate crisis. Now, in Groundswell, in the third film, we're going to reveal the other key. There's two of them, right? That's water. But for now, just focusing on carbon, there's 9 billion acres of agricultural land globally.
right.
If we were to regenerate that 9 billion acres, we could sequester a teraton of carbon. in a very short period of time, not topsoil. I'm talking deep root recalcitrant layers of soil that will last for up to 1,000 years. There is no other way to do it. There is no other scalable, actionable, short-term, cheap solution that has all these co-benefits. We can say, well, we don't care about carbon. We just want to do it for food. Great, do it for food, and the carbon will follow. And this is the 360-degree mentality that we're trying to get across in these films, which is why we're excited for you all to see them on Earth Day, April 22nd on Amazon Prime.
Yes, and commongroundfilm.org. Is that the website?
That is it. Yep.
Okay, everybody, you definitely want to join this global watch party. And, look, we told you a lot of the science behind it, but I'm going to come back to the splashiness. Look, every documentarian would love to be able to say, oh, yes, Demi Moore is my executive producer, Ian Somerholder, Jason Momoa. Why is it that you guys are able to attract A-list talent like this? What do you think why are they so passionate about this as well?
Just like us, when we first learned about the power of biosequestration to stabilize our climate and create a whole new conversation and a choice for us where we can choose to actually continue to thrive and have life on Earth for generations and generations to come, or we could choose to not do that and just continue to extract ourselves to death. We have a choice. It doesn't have to be that way. So when we learned that, as we were starting a family ourselves, moving onto a small farm ourselves, and I'm speaking from our experience because this has been true for everyone that we know. As soon as we learned the information, that's why education is so important here. We had been working for almost, together. We had already made like 15 films about the environment, mostly focusing on emissions and oil, like Josh had said. So when we learned we can take that teraton of carbon we've emitted through industrialization and put it into soil, and it's going to give us clean food, and it's going to give farmers a better life, and it's going to heal economies and create water cycles. I mean, the whole thing, like you said, almost seems too good to be true, like too simple. And I think it became clear to us in that moment that this was our calling. And I think a lot of people, when they get this information and they truly fully digest it, it changes them, because suddenly there's a new purpose in life. Suddenly it wakes people up to that there is hope. Like we're so we are so depressed and paralyzed. I don't even think we realize how depressed and paralyzed we are. We are in some state of denial, some state of fear. We're like making life choices. Like, I'm not going to have kids because I don't want my kids to be in whatever 80 years from now is going to look like. And so when people get this information, it changes them. So when we had the opportunity to share this with Woody Harrelson, with Laura Dern, and Rosario Dawson had already been working on this issue for a while, actually, because she like, this is part of her passion as well, standing up for equal rights and field worker rights and justice. So she was already in this conversation, but a lot of people haven't been in this conversation. So when Laura Dern, an environmentalist, came into this conversation, she too was like, this seems too good to be true. Like, what's wrong here? Now, all she wants to do is go form a regenerative farm, and everybody, when they start getting into this, they start to think about themselves and how they can become stewards of the land and how they can be sequesters of carbon and how they can get their hands in that soil and feel good and get that nutrient dense food into their body that they grew with their own hands. I mean, and so who doesn't want to do that? And so then you have a movie about dirt, and here we are coming from making movies about oil. And we're thinking, how in the world are we going to take this life-saving, vital, critical message and get this into the mainstream? Like, people don't even want to hear about climate change. It's like a dirty word. So when we had the opportunity to have these conversations, we got over our own starstruckness and got to work on behalf of everyone. We're like, look, we need your help. Did you know we can sequester all the carbon that we've emitted? And have you heard about this thing called regenerative agriculture? We become those nerds you don't want to talk to at the party who won't shut up about soil. And then these celebrities like Jason and Laura, guess what they're now doing? They're the people at the party talking about soil, and that's what happens. And if you haven't already gotten into this movement, when you start to learn about this movement, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be this wake-up call that regenerates not just the soil, but your life and your family and your community, because that's what regeneration is. It's not just like sustaining whatever it is that we're at. It's the opposite of degenerating, which is what we're doing. It is literally like creating like wealth on every level, like soil is like a bank account. And when you keep adding and taking care of that soil, it takes care of everyone and it takes care of everyone way into the future. And so rather than taking that beautiful life-giving soil and extracting it and that precious oil and burning it, like all these things that we know, like there is a simple, easy solution, and it involves all of us coming in contact with the earth. And everybody can take part of it and watch Kiss the Ground and Common Ground and share it with their friends because this is a global movement. It's the next huge era of our history. It's the era where we, as human beings, woke up and saved ourselves.
I think that's one of the reasons and one of the major themes that makes these films so exciting is that they are messages of hope. So whether you're suffering from climate anxiety or you have friends who are, or you just woke up and were like, hey, I want to be part of Make America Healthy Again, whatever it was that called to you, now you have a very fun and entertaining way to learn about something that is absolutely a solution that creates great hope and absolutely the antidote for anxiety. And I also want to take it that step further because you guys are very active in Congress. Is there anything that are people watching this, people joining your Global Watch Party on Earth Day, April 22nd? What can they do to take the next step? How can they engage Congress in a more meaningful way to support our regenerative agricultural movement? What's the easiest thing, the first step that anybody could take to support this?
Well, the first step, not to beat a dead horse, but the first step is to watch the movies. And that's
Absolutely.
both Kiss the Ground and Common Ground. Kiss the Ground was wildly popular on Netflix. We've taken it back from Netflix. It's no longer on Netflix. You can't watch it right now. You cannot watch it until Earth Day, at which point you can. And so Kiss the Ground really establishes the beginning of the story. Common Ground is the middle of the story. Number one thing, watch the films, get your Congress people to watch the films. Send them
Mhm.
the trailers. Call their offices. Has Congressperson so and so seen it? Has Senator so and so seen it? Have their staffers seen it? Did they do a watch party? Did they do a required watching?
Very good.
We have a free version of Kiss the Ground and Common Ground that is available free to every government official, any government body, not just in the United States, but anywhere in the world, down to the city council members, right?
Even
So,
now they can do
yeah,
that, or do they have to
absolutely.
wait?
No, they can do that starting now. You can register on the website. We want to make sure, because the United States, especially our government, if they're going to watch a documentary, it must be free. They cannot pay for it by law. It cannot be paid for. So if it's an official screening in any way, shape, or form, if they ask their staff, what we need them to know and what you need to tell them is no, there's a free version for all government people. Right now, it's available, right? So
Yeah.
that's your mission. Get on the phone, get on the email, get those postcards out. Let's get everyone, all of the Congress people, not just the Congress people, the staffers, not just the staffers, but all the support people, down to the person at the cafe that's serving the lunch
Yeah.
next to the congressional building. Let's get them all watching. Kiss the Ground first, Common Ground second. They can watch the free version for government. That's perfect.
Right.
Then let's have a conversation about why we're still essentially subsidizing multi-billion-dollar multinational companies that are not based in the United States, that are manufacturing toxic chemicals overseas, selling them to our farmers, and making us sick.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to subsidize, regardless of the government that we have or don't have? I don't think it makes sense to pay people to make us sick.
No.
So let's turn that model around after we all watch the films, shall we?
Very good. Okay, so everybody, you know now what to do. First of all, watch the films, encourage your Congress people and even your local officials, the city council people to watch the film, get on board with this. And I want to open up the platform to you, both of you again. Is there anything else that you want to say about the two films that are going to be screened on April 22nd, Earth Day? Remember, everybody, go to commongroundfilm.org. And also even about a little tease on Groundswell and what differentiates that film from the other two.
Groundswell is all about the global movement. It's about regeneration. So it's not just specifically about like North America and farming. It's about how we regenerate humanity and life on Earth. And that looks like it touches everything. So agriculture is a huge part of that, but the clothing that we wear, I mean, like if you just look out into your own community, and this is what I would say people need to do, like rather than trying to like fix the whole thing, this is what we're learning from Groundswell. Focus on your community. Look around you. That is regeneration. Regeneration is taking where you are and slowly working out from there and making it better. And so if we look in our own communities and we see like what's not working, what's not regenerative. Like when we moved here to Ventura County and we started to make these movies, we started opening our eyes, and we realized that around us there were field workers that were experiencing human rights violations, and we realized that we were actually being exposed to pesticides, and so then that's where we started. So yes, we're working on this on a global scale, but honestly, the real hard work is what's happening within our community with the parents of the kids that my kids go to school with who do use pesticides, that we're exposed to. Those are the conversations that matter, not blaming people for their choices or their understanding or their lack of understanding, and finding that common ground and coming from love and working in this symbiotic way with people that's not divisive, but that's regenerative. Regeneration, this is kind of cheesy, but regeneration is love. Regeneration is connecting. Regeneration is communities working together, like the soil, like the mycorrhizal fungi, sending nutrients through that web to its other family member trees, and maybe not as much to the non-family member trees. I mean, this is actually what's happening beneath the soil. And so we're connected to that. And when people start looking at the soil around them and the food that's being grown around them, they look at that system. That is a great place to start and to come from love and to ask questions and to be curious. And I'm speaking because I've learned this the hard way. My own father is a conventional farmer, and I come from a legacy farming family. So these are really important. It's one thing to get like righteous and say, we are going to regenerate the world, and this is how we do it.
Right.
Farmers have a way of doing things. And so it's a delicate conversation to have with people, to ask them to make a change, whether it's asking them to change their farming practices or asking them to change their diet or asking them to change their mind. So I think when we look to the opportunity and then we look within our own communities, that's a really, really great place to start.
Well, I think that this is an exciting thing for Earth Day 2025, April 22nd, is that we can actually, instead of just saying, okay, I'm going to go spend 1 hour and I'm going to pick up a bunch of trash, or I'll clean up the beach for an hour, to say, this is an exciting day for us to learn about messages of hope, messages of healing, how to make our communities healthy again, how to even help to make our planet healthier. These are very positive messages. So I am encouraging everybody to please go to commongroundfilm.org. Make sure you sign up and watch these films for free, no matter if you're in India or Italy, which was where I was last week, and you can just watch it in your own language. It's pretty exciting. And I guess we do have to thank Amazon Prime for helping to do this as well. Josh, do you have any final words?
Just that the version of Kiss the Ground that you will see on Earth Day has never been seen before. This is the director's cut. This was the original vision that Rebecca and I had for the film. So we've gone back in, we've changed it back to the original version, which includes some never before seen stuff with Rosario Dawson, and it's a better film. It's a better film. We had a little trouble with that film when we got it on the Netflix. So this is the unedited director's cut.
Okay.
Common Ground will be the first time it's screened digitally. People have only ever seen it in theaters. So a lot of people are like, oh, I think I saw Common Ground. You probably didn't. You
Yeah.
probably thought you saw it because you saw Kiss the Ground. Common Ground's a whole new movie, right? It's like not the one that was on digital streaming. So this is the first time it's streaming, the first time it's translated, the first time it's ready for public consumption. That's pretty cool. You definitely want to see it. It's really a new experience. You don't have to see the first film to see the second film and vice versa. But if you do see them both, wow, what an experience, right? So that's going to be awesome. You could do a double feature, have some regenerative popcorn, have a little regenerative food, have a little conversation after, watch the Q&A, which will be available so that, what a cool evening. Come to my house, watch Kiss the Ground, director's cut, never seen before. Let's do that. Have a little break, have a little food, watch Common Ground, then watch the Q&A. You are going to be fired up
Yeah.
to change the world. I mean, talk about making America healthy. We're going to make the world healthy after this, right? So that's an exciting pathway for a fun evening. Again, do it with your friends, do it with your community, do it with your family. If you're a student and you're watching this, if you're a, child, get your parents to watch it. Let's
Absolutely.
wake up the parents here too, because I see a lot of what people eat when I go to film in their houses. Sometimes I sneak in the kitchen and have a look, and I'm like, "Woo, America is eating some unhealthy stuff." We
Yeah.
need to change that model, and these films show you how.
Perfect. Thanks again for joining us. This is Natalie Pace, co-creator of the Earth Gratitude Project. So you're going to be able to see this all over at our YouTube channel. That's YouTube at Earth Gratitude and also at earthgratitude.org. So be sure to share this with your friends. Message of hope for Earth Day 2025 about the solutions. So we don't have to have climate anxiety and we can make America healthy again, which is a very powerful mantra. Thanks again for joining me, Josh and Rebecca. You guys have a lovely time. I'll see you on Earth Day. Next time you go to Congress, I'm going to be there. So be sure to let us know. And thanks again.
Thanks, Natalie. Have a great, great day.
Thank you.